Hi everyone, I'm Versavia, and today I have Binyamin or Binyamin,
Either or,
either
both
or.
work.
How do you
Yeah.
pronounce it?
Yeah. You can call me even Benjamin. It's okay. Or Ben or
Benjamin?
whatever.
Ben?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have, I guess, Ben with us today. Um, this is a second time I'm doing an interview, just to kind of better understand our community, what brings the people here together, and what we all want from it. So, all of that said, hi, I'm Binyamin, Ben.
Hey, what's up?
um, so, I guess I have lots of questions I want to ask you, but before I jump into that, like you have been interviewing all of these people, and I don't know very much about you yet. So can you tell us, like, how did you come to OPS? Like, what about it stuck for you that you're doing doing the interviews and all of these things?
Yeah. So I came to OPS. Dave sent me a message on one of my videos like a while back. And so I jumped on his channel to see what was up. And he hadn't started any of the new stuff yet. This was before 2018. And so I subscribed and, time went by and his stuff rolled out and I was interested. So I sent him a message and because like I noticed there was like missing information to figure out his system because I didn't really understand what he was doing. He was coming out with all of these videos about something and there was no like actual announcement that this is actually a new system or something. Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I checked out his website and I sent him a message and I was like, it would help if like we could see you typing somebody live or like a celebrity or something. He's like, oh yeah, that's what we're doing in the class. Come join the class. So I joined his class and yeah, within a little bit figured out the system and I figured that the missing information was like to better understand it and to see that it actually works is to check it out in reality and see if like people are actually matching what he decided his system should be. So yeah, so I started the interviews. I also really wanted to practice my demon FE. So I figured kill two birds with one stone and, get to meet some of the people in the community. I noticed like right away it was a really nice community, growth mindset and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, you really tapped into something there with the interviews. I think like something in the FE of the group that it really took off, and like props for that. I think it was a wonderful idea, and I'm really glad that it's there.
It was an
Um,
accident, but I'll take it.
um, were you familiar with Myers-Briggs or function types or anything like that before?
Yeah, I guess when I was like 8 years old, my dad put me through an official MBTI test, and
Wow.
I thought I was in trouble, and so I answered the questions how I thought they would want me to answer it, so I came out ISTJ, which I don't know if that says anything about MBTI.
Well, I mean, the ST part is consistent between the two typings.
Right? Yeah, but I guess that's what I thought they wanted me to be, an ISTJ, so that's why I came out like
Oh,
that.
that
Yeah.
that's what your parents wanted you to be?
Well,
Okay.
because I was answering all the questions based on so that I wouldn't get in trouble. So
Oh,
yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, so, uh, oh man, I have so many questions. Well, I'm curious if you could share a little bit. So you've been doing these interviews for a little while now. You've interviewed quite a few people. Your rate is like really impressive. Um, what have you learned? Like what's been something interesting that you've learned from that?
Um, yeah, I was asked this already. Like for me, I'm learning lots of stuff, but nothing that I really have stuck into a framework yet that I can give over. But like
Hmm.
there's many things I'm learning about all of the functions on how they express in different people. I'm starting to track maybe patterns. I don't know yet. Like I've got to get enough data to make sure that like the patterns stay. And yeah, I'm also learning that like at first I didn't know who I was going to get in the interviews because I didn't know anyone really.
Yeah.
Like you talk to them on Facebook, but you never see their face, you never see their behavior, nothing like that. And I was really surprised. Interview after interview, it's just amazing people in the community. So
It is. We're really lucky. We have an incredible community here. Um,
yeah,
what are some of the parts of the community that you really appreciate and enjoy?
um, yeah. Well, I like that everyone is sort of in the same kind of mindset that, like the growth mindset and the understanding that we're not all the same and we all have difficulties that we have to overcome. Like it's not just and it's not just self-focused or you don't think that everyone has the same difficulties. Like we understand that everyone has like the same amount of difficulties, just in a different way. And we're also helping each other out because we realize that like um, what the functions I have access to is it could be a demon for someone else, and so I can help them sort of see the side of themselves that they're missing and stuff like that. So
Yeah, yeah. Or might not even be in their stack. Like
yeah,
you are on the TIFE axis, I'm on the FITE axis. So it's kind of
right.
like sometimes um at least I feel like sometimes I'm speaking a different language from someone, and having this OPS framework allows me to realize that like, oh, it's because they're coming from this place while I'm coming from this place.
Yeah.
Um yeah, so then I I guess what are sorry, I'm like glancing through my notes to see which question I want to go to next. Um, what would you want to see? Like, are there elements of the community, not community, but or like maybe tooling or things like that that you think are missing within the community, or that you would like to see happen or built out or something like that?
Okay. What do you mean by tooling?
Tooling. Well, I guess, for example, I know that oh my God, the name escapes me. There are a couple of people who have, for example, experienced software engineering, and they've built out some tools to help people type,
Um,
for
yeah,
example. And then
right.
there's also like what you have started here with the interviews that is really resonating for the community. That's like another like access to a resource that I guess wasn't there before. Like, what kinds of things would you like to see happen within the community?
Um, yeah, I don't really know. I think like I guess I have some things, but like I think it should grow organically, and anything I really put on it is just not, it doesn't really make sense because, but I think the community is it's yeah, I don't know. Sorry,
No, that's
I'm
okay.
gonna have to think about it more. Yeah,
That's okay. Could you, when you said that anything you put on it doesn't make sense, can you expand on that?
yeah. I mean, like like this is something that Klaus did when he started the Facebook group. He said that he didn't want to put down any rules
Okay.
on the not you like you have your own Facebook group, right? That you're also running. Like there's the two. I'm part of both.
There's an unofficial class study group. There's an official class study group. There's an after dark
Oh
group.
wow. Okay.
And then there's a
I
lot
don't
of
know all of
other
them.
like subtypes for like, Blast Last or like MDE or like all of these things.
Yeah, right. So the one that Klaus is running, at least, he said that he didn't put down any rules at all when
Hmm.
he started it because he thinks that like we should all be responsible enough to handle our own stuff.
Hmm.
and and I think that overall, like, people that no one's really out of line ever. Everyone's always behaving properly. And if
Yeah,
anyone ever does if anyone ever does say something stupid, people will say, hey, you're being stupid, and that's it. Like,
that's true. In that regard, we've had very few occasions for any kind of like we self moderate fairly well. I think that's a really
yeah,
good
and
point.
really low drama too.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to your earlier point that we're all very growth mindset,
Yeah,
and that's what's bringing people there. So we admit and acknowledge that we all have our faults and we all have our weaknesses.
yeah, for sure.
Um, are there parts? So, are there things that you say, for example, OPS is proven to be like, I don't know, grounded in some kind of physical science, say biology, genetics, and it's like 10, 20 years from now, and there's um, all of these, like, we all have these types. Are there negative elements of it that you think we should be cautious of?
I think so. Um, I think like we all know each other's types in the community, but I think in real life, if someone knows your type, they can know how to manipulate you maybe a little easier. Or yeah, and I think it is something that's private, and they'll know your weaknesses automatically. Like unless you've like put in the time to grow properly, you'll have those weaknesses, and people can sort of push those red buttons. So I think that is a little bit of danger. But I mean, if everybody knows everybody's type, like if you wear it on your shirt or something, then I guess it'll balance out. I don't know.
No, I think that's a really good point. That yeah, it's an insight into somebody's weaknesses, and there's definitely a negative side to that, to having access to something like that. Um, yeah, is there anything you well, I, aside from the growth part of the community, are there elements of it that you really enjoy?
Like I really enjoy, that everybody there is trying to grow, like I said before. And like the blast last group, for example, everyone there is just blasting all day, and they're blast last, and that's what they're doing. They're just practicing their blast. So it's really nice, like even if you're not blast last, to just join and watch how they're progressing. you know and I like some of them, their blast is getting better than the blast first, so it's kind of cool to see how quick they grow. And so yeah, I think tools like that are really cool in the community, that like, and just, it's really, there's a lot of support, um where like, I know people are trying to start all kinds of stuff. I don't know what'll stay, what won't, but like demon support, for example, is something that's trying to be started up now. So
Oh,
like all
nice.
that stuff, that people are really focusing on their weaknesses, and accepting them, and yeah, just taking responsibility for them. So
Yeah, that's I'm not in that blast last group, but I've always been very curious to see what it's like. So you're saying it's fun because people are you can see the progress of people.
yeah, for sure, yeah.
That's really cool. That's really awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Um, oh, it just fell out of my head. I had a question. Um, so I guess to go back to an earlier question, so you said you started the interviews so that you could see how the types are against real people rather than just text on the page. Is
Yeah, that's
there
one of the reasons. Yeah, there's a few reasons, but yeah, that's one of them for sure.
are
Yeah.
there any others that you'd like to share with us?
Well, yeah, I said I wanted to practice my Demon FE,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh, right, you did.
um, so yeah, I don't know. There's like I wanted to meet people in the community as well, and
You started the interviews before you got typed, right?
a little bit before. Yeah, yeah.
Has that getting a type back, has that informed how you go about interviewing one way or another?
Not particularly. I guess I knew which coin I was on, like what my functions were before I started the interviews. I thought I was slightly a different type, but like the same main savior function too. So I mean, because of that, I don't think it really affects anything. Like, and also like you, I think when you interact with someone that's similar to you, you notice it. You can see their functions, especially if you're talking about the functions. And yeah, I think even just the OP type gives you access to a language to speak about things that you previously could never speak about with people. And because like everyone understands the same words and the same language, we can have a discussion that just no one else in the world can have.
That's very well put. Yeah. Yeah, that language, that's very well put. Um, I think, well, is there anything else that you would like to share in terms of the community aspect of OPS, not the system itself, but like the community we have on Facebook?
Yeah, I think it's nice that it's on Facebook. But like there are a lot of people that are going away from the Facebook community because there's just so much content and so many people and so much to pay attention to. Um, and I think that the community is bigger than just the Facebook group.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, but you know, like I don't think that just because they're not in the Facebook group, they don't have the same sort of mindset. Like everyone who's coming here, like we have our gurus. Like I like that guru speak that you guys spoke about last time, like the guru danger and all that. That was kind of interesting. But like we have the gurus that are actually like well grounded, and you know have they're taking inspirational people with good messages and positive messages and stuff too. So I think that's also like really contributing to what what the I don't know, the values in the community is. So I don't know. Yeah, like
So when you were talking about the Facebook group, it sounded like so there's the Facebook group is a sub community of the OPS community at large. It sounds like that's what you were saying.
yeah, and I think even people who haven't been typed or who aren't in the class are like just even a YouTube community. Like I think like it spreads far more than we realize.
Hmm.
So
Do you think what are the pros and cons of that? Like, do you think it's important to have like a central place for the community to gather, or do you think it's better that there are all of these sub communities?
yeah, better or not better. That's like an FI question. um,
Yeah. Well,
what do you think?
um, that's a good question. I'm not
You
sure. I
asked,
guess
not me.
um, I think there's value in both of them. Um, I like a single source of truth, so then I can SE gather a lot more easily. Um, but when there isn't, well, yeah, I think my like, oh my God, I'm missing out aspect freaks out when I know that there are other communities, and I prefer a single source of truth for that reason. But obviously, that's a very subjective answer.
Yeah, right. Like I think the what we've seen though, like being in the community, is that lots of people get their types wrong,
Hmm.
and most of the people that aren't part of the community don't see that every day. That people are putting one type down and they're getting a different one back.
Hmm.
So people are triangulating based on the YouTube videos or on the interviews and things like that. They should just be aware that like the chances that they're actually right is pretty low. It does happen, but it's low.
Yeah. So you think visibility is important in that regard?
What do you mean by visibility?
Well, having access to knowing that these people are, well,
Yeah,
it's one thing when you hear Dave and Shannon say that like most people get their type wrong, and it's different when you get to know someone and they think that they're one type, and then eventually they get the type from Dave and Shannon, and it ends up being something very different.
yeah, like you're following a bunch of people through their process,
Hmm.
like a whole bunch of them, one after another, and so you sort of see the pattern just based on that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that that's most of the questions that I had in terms of the building the community. Um,
Okay.
is there anything on your mind that you want to share?
Well, I have a low blast, but let's see. I think that it's if you're watching this interview and you're interested in self growth and you've made it this far into the interview, good for you. You're on the right step. You're in the right step. Everyone who's part of the community knows that they have grown, like they have seen actual real results because of this typing system and because of the ability to see the map of your character and see what you're missing and what you're strong at. And because of that, like it's just incredible at how much people grow when they first join, and then after just a few months. It's just really
That's a
good to
really
see.
good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think that's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll see you. Bye.
Bye.